And showtime! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. A look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I'm the executive editor of the ChannelPro Network. I'm also a co-host of this program. I am joined this, as every week, by my co-host Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement consultant for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how you doing?
Doing great, Rich. How you doing?
I am doing great as well. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Hey, exciting news this week, and I think I've got a pretty prescient tip of the week for us. So let's dive right in.
All right. Well, let's get into the top story of the week here. And this is not something that everybody in the audience necessarily will be able to relate to entirely the way you can and I can, but there is a fun angle to this. So if you're a regular viewer of the program, you know just a few episodes ago we were talking about the new cloud management tool from Skykick. And in fact, that is an early entry in what is very rapidly becoming a major trend in the industry right now. Vendors are figuring out that MSPs have this giant headache they're dealing with right now. Their customers are using 3, 5, 8 different software as a service, infrastructure as a service solutions. They've got an RMM tool that they can use to centrally manage all of the customers' endpoints. They don't really have a central management plane for all of those different cloud tools. Vendors are trying to close that gap right now. We talked about Cloud Manager from Skykick. There is another product in that space as well that came onto the market in August. They are called Augment, with 2 T's at the end in case you're interested. The chairman of that company, one of the founders of that company, is named Gavin Garbutt. Gavin Garbutt, those of you who have been in the managed services world for a while will know, used to be the CEO and was the founder of Enable, one of the first real RMM companies. One of the other first pioneering RMM companies way back in the day, the early days of managed services, was Level Platforms. CEO of that company was named Peter Sandiford. Well, lo and behold, I discovered recently that Peter Sandiford is back as the CEO of a brand new cloud management company called Zerotech. One word, T-E-K at the end, if you want to look that up. They're taking a slightly different angle. So Augment and Cloud Manager, they're really looking just to provide a centralized management point for all these different cloud solutions. What Zerotech is really trying to do is centralize and help you manage identities. So really provide kind of a single sign-on access point to all the different cloud solutions that a customer can use. You might kind of say, because essentially this is an identity and access management, a directory product. And you might say, well, that sounds a whole lot like Azure Active Directory. Don't I have that already? This product is interesting because it is based on Okta, O-K-T-A. Okta, very well-known, well-regarded cloud directory product, but an enterprise product for the most part. It really targets that corporate IT department. Single tenant, you're paying for it in annual installments. It's really not an MSP-friendly product. What Zerotech did is take Okta and use it as the foundation for an MSP-focused identity and access management solution for the cloud. Now, there is also some Microsoft 365 management functionality in there. Peter Sandiford is a little bit, cagey on whether or not he's going to go beyond that and include more cloud management functionality, kind of move beyond that identity management function. He's going to wait and see what his users say, if it feels like that's the right thing to do for the solution. But he really feels like he's coming at the whole cloud management challenge from the right direction. He believes that the stickiest aspect of cloud management is identity management. That if you own the identity management function, you basically own that customer's cloud. And then the other thing that he believes, and this is something that Gavin Garbutt believes, a lot of these other vendors who are getting into the space believe, is if you are focused on endpoint management, you're focused on device management, if you are focused on RMM, which is a tool for device management, you are dedicating your energies to yesterday's managed services model. Increasingly what it's about, if you want to be relevant and strategic and differentiated for your customers, is cloud management. And that's where you're going to need tools like these ones we're talking about here, including Zerotech.
Yeah, Rich, it really is interesting to see how the industry is driving the move to the cloud. So skating to where the puck is going to be, right? So this is what these vendors are trying to do. And it's great, hearing about these, industry leaders, right? CEOs of, you know, very prominent and impactful organizations to the MSP channel now saying, okay, this is the next evolution. This is where we are going to be as a channel, and this is what we are going to be managing, in the next several years. And of course, I have this argument all the time with my colleagues, and partners. Is like, well, you know, how many of you really believe that that is where the puck is going to be? And on the one side of the fence is like, well, I've got clients that are never going to give up their servers. They're going to be hugging those servers until they can't hug them no more. And the other, end of the spectrum is, well, in the middle is, well, yeah, I manage some on-prem stuff, but I'm also managing more and more cloud stuff. So that hybrid business model. And then, of course, you've got the folks that are kind of born in the cloud, I don't want to mess with device and all that. I will manage cloud platforms, the true CSSPs or the MSSPs that say, look, I don't want to deal with users and services. I will manage security, and that's mostly platforms, cloud, and things like that. So I think that, partners need to be paying attention that, and seeing the shift as you and I see these shifts, right, Rich, from our position, because we're reporting on it every week and talking about these moves. And, I like being able to bring this perspective to the partners, because folks, when I heard you say that, they think it's kind of like yesterday's MSP, I'm thinking, oh, they're saying we're going to be dinosaurs here in a minute, right? We know what happened to dinosaurs. But, I think that all of these positions are true. I think that there are going to be some clients that just can't ever get rid of that big iron because that's what they're dealing with, at least for the MSPs that are managing them now. I mean, you may, exit, sell your company, or retire before they get rid of some of that stuff. But I think I see more and more of the hybrid stuff happening now, where it's a lot of on-prem, but it's also a lot of cloud. So, we have to be ready to support all of these. And I think we're going to need to increase our tool set. Like some of these solutions give us that opportunity. So you're going to have tools that are going to be managing the legacy stuff. You're going to have tools that manage the cloud stuff. And you as an MSP have to figure out what the right, recipe of these different products you will be including in your services based upon the type of clients you want to manage moving forward. So the more strategic ones will be moving, forward. I think the smaller companies, the more nimble companies, the newer companies will be more cloud focused, right? More of the traditional companies have been around for many, many years, that brick and mortar stuff, typically more device focused, right? So where do you fit in?
I don't think servers are going to disappear anytime soon, but I also would be nervous about placing too long-term a bet on server management or workstation management for that matter. I mean, one of the things that these vendors in cloud management talk about is that endpoint management, it's not like it's irrelevant or going away, but it is kind of commoditized. And so there's an opportunity to be more differentiated and strategic if you are, early into the cloud management game. And all of a sudden now there are tools that enable you to do that. One of the things that will be interesting, I think, is right now there is some integration between these tools coming along and other tools that MSPs use, PSA, RMM, and so on. And I know that there's going to be more of that going on. But I do wonder, over time, if there's sort of a merging between cloud management tools and RMM tools. You would think from the standpoint of a ConnectWise or a Kaseya or a SolarWinds that they would notice this need, that a bunch of other vendors are noticing as well, and begin to incorporate more of that into their single pane of glass, and really kind of centralize everything in one place so that the MSP isn't switching back between their device management tool and their cloud management tool.
Well, stay tuned. We've seen this, this evolution over time before. So I'll bet you're right, Rich. I bet you, we'll see some of that moving forward as this category kind of matures.
Well, Eric, as we record this, it is 2 weeks to the day until Thanksgiving, and yet these days especially, it seems, it's never too early to start thinking ahead to the holidays, and that has something to do with your tip of the week.
Absolutely, Rich. I mean, like you say, 2 weeks to Thanksgiving, 5 weeks to Christmas, give or take. 5, yeah, 6 maybe. I mean, we're danger close. And so, I'd like to, talk a little bit about giving, right? So giving back to clients, giving back to great strategic partners, to vendors, to staff. What do you do as an MSP to give thanks? Typically, we think about, cards and some of our better clients, and maybe we think about, sending gifts of, unique and distinct alcoholic beverages or foodstuffs, delivered, maybe steaks in a cooler, right? These signs of appreciation, right? That we all, love to receive, but also love to give. And I think, for us to be as successful as we can be in making sure that our clients receive things in a timely manner this holiday season, I think we need to be starting to think about that right now, because as Rich, here in the U.S., we have had our ups and downs and hiccups and challenges with just, mail delivery recently, exacerbated, of course, by, the elections and trying to get mail delivered on time. And I've certainly seen over the last, couple of years, the difference in how rapidly mail gets from one point of the country to the next part of the country. So, the tip of the week, here is, you may want to accelerate and attack your, your gift giving and thanks, and appreciation, and begin earlier than you might have in other years, because it's very, very strange right now with the Postal Service and, and the other carriers.
Yeah, and the other carriers, I was going to say, there definitely have been issues with the Postal Service recently. But, in a normal year around the holidays, UPS and FedEx, they are just inundated with gifts that they're delivering for people. And that's only going to be more true this year. A lot of gifts that might be, personally presented to somebody won't be this year.
Right.
So there's going to be even more delivery activity going on. And so, and those companies have been busy all year long. Bringing stuff into people's homes, and then there are the issues we were talking about with the Postal Service. So yeah, it's going to be harder to get stuff where you want it to go this year. And so good tip to be thinking ahead now, and especially you've got this 2-week window, folks, because the Black Friday and all that stuff's going to start happening in about 2 weeks. If you get out in front of it in the next 2 weeks, your odds are really good of beating that rush.
Yeah, and you reminded me, Rich, that you talked about UPS and FedEx. Well, hey, who's like one of the next largest transport carrier companies? If you think about it, it's Amazon. And because of the pandemic and all of the online ordering that's happened, even they have changed their delivery schedules and things like that. Even Amazon has slowed down. So again, folks, remember, it's not like I remember last year, Rich, and I always do all of my gift giving and shopping and all that all online, right? Because I'm not about going in and mixing it up with people anyway. So but in the past, you could order stuff pretty rapidly, with Amazon Prime and stuff, and expect it to get there. Well, even those delivery dates have been affected too. So anyway, just get after it a little bit earlier this year, I think, is the take home message.
If nothing else, it'll be a whole lot less stressful for you waiting to see if stuff arrives on time. I guess the worst case, though, is just that your thank you gift arrives in January. But if you get started early, you won't have to worry about that.
As long as it's not like, perishable food.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for the business. Here's some rotten fruit. Yeah.
Right.
Well, folks, that leaves us time for just one more story this week, and it comes to us from Japan, and specifically from a town in the northern part of that country called Takikawa, which has had bears. This is a small town, maybe not in the wilderness, but close enough to the wilderness that bears have been wandering in. This is obviously a dangerous situation. And so they were looking for some way to scare the bears away. And they came up with an ingenious high-tech solution, which we're going to show you here right now. Robot wolves. Robot monster wolves, ladies and gentlemen, are on patrol in, here we go, in Takikawa, Japan, scaring away the bears. And this apparently has been very effective. And
It's horrifying. It's horrifying.
It absolutely is. This would keep me away, certainly. Now, I have to say, I don't generally, I fall into the camp of people who think the robot apocalypse is just around the corner. But, you know, this will give you second thoughts about that just a little bit. I mean, from a long-term perspective, was it a good idea to invent robot monster wolves? But there, you know, you can see what they do to the bears right there. So ingenious thinking, and let's just hope from from the long-term perspective that Skynet doesn't discover the monster wolves and take it from there.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't look anything like that.
All right, well, thank you very much, folks. That is all the time we've got this week for you on the 5-Minute Roundup. We appreciate you joining us. If you like the show, or you want to take a look at some episodes you missed in the past, you want to know when the new episodes become available, thing to do is go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube, become a subscriber. If you click that little bell icon, you're going to get notifications, in fact, when the new episodes become available. You want to read more about Zerotech, you want to get all sorts of great information about what's happening in the industry, business growth advice for your company, go to channelpronetwork.com every day, because we have got awesome new content for you each and every day. To learn more about Eric and the work he does with his clients, go to ericksimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So Eric and I are going to be back again in a week with more for you, another episode of 5-Minute Roundup. Until then, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.